What is up YouTube, and welcome to this Flash video. So this is going to be black armbands for Ralph. Poor one for your homie. He's gone. One of the most entertaining things and most exciting things about this season is gone. Why? I don't actually know. I'm going to pull this closer. I'm just going to pull this close here. Why the fuck is he gone? I don't get it. But alas, he's gone. So we had the person in this episode, we found one of the last metas, which was the folded man, who was able to travel in between pocket dimensions. Remember earlier in the season, the pocket dimension was actually where DeVoe was held. So DeVoe was held, or at least he had his base within these pocket dimensions, and lo and behold, one of the metas he created actually had the ability to travel between pocket dimensions. So once again, that's another character. So he can actually kind of walk autonomously, doesn't need the chair thing to travel between to his base and wherever he wants to go. So now he's actually able to do that. Now the Folded Man is actually a rogue. He was a villain of the Flash, someone who was an absolute genius who created a suit that allowed him to travel in between dimensions. But once again, just like a few other characters this season, we actually haven't had them used that much. It's literally just the powers, and that is it. I'm not sure even if they even called him the Folded Man in the episode. And this was a typical hippie stoner dude who was kind enough to pay for Ralph's bus fare on the infamous bus from one of the first episodes. And it kind of now, there was a plot hole where Ralph couldn't afford to get on the bus. We finally find out why he was able to get on the bus. Presumably DeVoe was able to predict that this guy would use his Namastanus to pay for his train or bus fare. Train fare, I don't know what I'm talking about. But that was that. And, well, there is just one other villain. There is the kind of nuke dude who is still out there. He is the one that is needed so far. The one, not sure what DeVoe really wants with his powers, considering they're so incredibly unstable. But that is that. So we, or at least Harrison Wells, thought that he had the powers to defeat the evil DeVoe using a tuning fork, which I loved the reference where they mentioned that they had the tuning fork. It was the most powerful tuning fork within the multiverse. Well, there's something else, and that was the tuning tower that was created by Alexander Luthor, I believe of Earth 3, off the top of my head. I'm trying to remember that. And he created that, or at least he created it just before the events of Infinite Crisis, the semi-sequel to Crisis on Infinite Earths. A story which many of us have wanted for so long for the Flash TV show. So, very nice deep cut reference there to that. Maybe I'm reading a bit too much into that. But there was a reference to Professor Xavier when we had the Folded Man mention that he had seen the kind of base. He mentioned Professor X, and I was hoping for some Cerebro references as well there, but alas, there was not. But this tuning fork didn't work. Now, one thing I thought was dumb. So we had one of the Samurais go after Team Flash, and that was when they found the hippie commune, the last sort of pocket dimension hotspot. So, considering the fact that DeVoe knows he's using pocket dimensions, he knows that he created someone for pocket dimensions, or at least he deliberately created someone with a similar power, he would be tracking this person. And he's used it as a bait and switch. One thing I've hated this season, and a lot of you hated, is just how dumb Team Flash have been, especially Barry. So they know that they're onto him. They know the Samurais are being deployed because DeVoe is onto them or warning them off. But what they do is they decide to go and attack DeVoe. Use the tuning fork, and it was simply a hologram, and they use his power to kind of reverse back into, so they kind of reverse the pocket dimension switch, and it's just so stupid. Just how did they not know that DeVoe would be after them? How? Just how would they not know that DeVoe is simply setting this up just as a bait and switch, which is just ridiculous. And the whole of Star Labs is under attack. So I just really think that they haven't learned anything. They haven't learned anything from this lesson. And I love the whole kind of superheroes don't kill, metahumans don't kill, which in this instance, and he needs to be killed. He really, really does actually need to be killed. And Barry's lesson of not letting Ralph kill anyone really did fail miserably here. And there's one thing, I thought they weren't going to use these cuffs. I thought they weren't going to use these cuffs because they didn't really work. They didn't work last episode either. So, yeah, they didn't follow up on that at all. And it's just ridiculous. So Ralph is now gone, sadly, one of the most entertaining parts of this. But one thing I'm curious about, maybe they're going to work out a way for DeVoe to actually, have his whole, or when he dies, he has all of the other people reborn, or they kind of come back to life or something. Because I'm hoping Ralph returns. It's a real shame. They really have lost a real big part of the show in this, and a lot of the most entertaining part. But we're just like 3 or 4 episodes away from the finale, so now they need to go dark. They need to go dark here. But we've got Citizen Cold returning next week to help out. So, yeah, I'm really excited to see where they go with that. But this is like the Empire Strikes Back so far in this season, because Ralph's died. We've got Killer Frost, who no longer has her powers, which means, Caitlin doesn't have her powers. So Caitlin has no powers, so moving forward, there's no Killer Frost, because she can't turn into Killer Frost. So that's done. Killer Frost is gone. So it's completely and utterly done from this whole thing. I mean, Killer Frost, she's gone. So they've wiped out everything that makes this season really, really interesting, which I think is a pure crying shame here. Now, we finally see the end. We see the end. So the end goal here, like I said, so far, was to get Ralph to train him so his powers are kind of stable, which I kind of call BS on that. Absolute BS on why they've waited so long. It's just because they want to have this emotional impact. And he turns back into DeVoe, and yeah, a lot of us, so predictable, a lot of us really, really did call that. And what happens here is we see a satellite. So it looks like he's actually hacked the Starlab satellite, or he's going to launch his own satellite, which I'm probably expect he's probably hacked the Starlab's satellite. That's the one that we see at the end, and this is his enlightenment. So the enlightenment, part of me is thinking that either he is going to hijack everyone and use their brain power, or he wants to insert his perfect, ideal Matrix world into their brains so they live a perfect life, so there's no more war, blah, blah, blah. So that is that. I think, let me know what you think his final plan is below, because really they should have introduced this a lot earlier. But that is it for this video. I will see you soon, and goodbye.